Hello learners, welcome again to our session today. It is a continuation of what we are handling earlier on. Remember in our last class we had introduced valuation concept, whereby we had talked of the whole concept of valuation. So in our class today, I'll want us to look at the reasons why we should value our financial assets. So reasons for valuing financial assets. Why should you value our financial assets? That's the concept that I want us to handle today. Reasons for valuing financial assets. 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 Why should we value our financial assets, my good students? So the first reason you'll find that we normally tend to value our financial assets for tax purposes. Number one, for taxes. I'm going to explain this for taxes. By this time, we noted that valuing of valuation concept in finance, basically, we will be looking at financial assets most of the cases. These are, of course, the dividends, which will include ordinary share dividends, or rather ordinary shares, preference shares, talk about debenture interest. It's going to include all these concepts. So the reasons of us valuing our financial assets, it is for taxes. And how is it important? Taxation is one of the primary reasons why valuation of assets becomes an essential exercise. There is a property income tax to be paid, which requires the valuation of real estate property as well as other assets. This makes accurate calculation of tax dues possible. So remember the concept of capital gain tax. Because at the end of the day, you as a company, you're supposed to pay your capital gain tax. And to pay this capital gain tax, it is always issued, or it is always subjected on securities or aspect of capital items. And at this point, shares is always one of the same. Shares. So capital gain is usually a gain or transfer of property. That is a capital gain. So the tax subjected on this gain on transfer of property is what you are terming it as the capital gain tax. So valuation will be very key because it will give the right value of the shares when we are doing what? When you are doing the transfers. It will give the accurate value of, or rather the price of the item when you are conducting what? When you are conducting the exchange. So that is one important thing that we should have in mind. Number two, important, we're talking about for financial reports and audits. Financial reports and audit. So you'll find, my good student, that this is also one of the key and the main important reason why we normally tend to value our financial assets, because at the end of the day, remember all these items, they are going to be included in our statement of financial position as equity, right? The aspect of shares. So it will be very appropriate for us to have the right value so that at the end of the day, I should not kind of either misappropriate our books by disclosing a wrong amount or a wrong value, which will kind of bring form of an impression to the shareholders in relating to what? In relating to what we are doing, or rather in relating to our financial reports. So you'll find that at this point, financial reports and audit is always very key. Number two, we'll be talking about for mergers and acquisition. Talk about for mergers and acquisition. That one will also be very key because anytime you're talking about mergers and acquisition, you'll find that when two companies are thinking of merging together or an acquisition, when two companies are thinking of merging together or an acquisition is being planned, asset valuation is absolutely essential. Asset valuation is absolutely essential. This helps the people involved know the worth of any company involved in such a financial takeover or merger. It helps in kind of sizing up the business. Because remember, we introduced the valuation and we mentioned that it is an estimate of worthiness of an item. So while looking at mergers and acquisition, at this point I'm planning to merge, or two companies are planning to merge, or we're planning to acquire a new company. It will be very vital for us to understand how this company is valued, so that at the end of the day it will be very important and also key to determine the value of that company, so that if it is merging, what percentage will we be having? If it is takeover, what am I going to give? So you'll find that is also very key and one of the importance and reasons of valuing our financial assets. Number 4, my good students, we'll be talking about also the aspect of loan application. Loan applications. At this point, I need to kind of want to apply for a loan. And we know very well that we normally tend to use collaterals in acquisition of our loans. So this concept will come in very handy, because you'll find that it's going to give us the value of assets that we have, which will include the financial assets. So that will determine the component, or will determine the loan that I might be given by a financial institution. So that one is also very important. Talk about the aspect of capital budgeting. 5, talk about capital budgeting. Capital budgeting. So anytime you're talking about capital budgeting, my good students, ideally, we are looking at a case whereby it is a complete analysis and planning of the investments made in the business. Capital budgeting is the complete analysis and planning of the investments made in a business. The value of each tangible as well as intangible assets of the company needs to be evaluated in order for the planning process to make sense and create a realistic forecast of future developments. The aspect of we need to kind of estimate what we'll be having in future. So that one is very key, capital budgeting. And amongst many other advantages and amongst many other reasons that you can consider while doing the aspect of what? While doing the aspect of valuation of financial assets. So in our next class, my good students, I want us to talk about theories on valuation of financial assets. Thank you so much, and let us meet in the next session. Thank you.